There's a funny belief that I've heard from a bunch of classical guitarists, and so I'd like to just take it on here, and that is that real classical guitarists don't strum. And this is, of course, ridiculous, because strumming is one of the most common techniques on the guitar. And a technique is absolutely agnostic. It can be used for any style. And this conception that real guitarists don't strum, well, we're going to do some myth busting on that in this video, because there are some great benefits to learning how to strum. And so if you've been on the fence, if you're learning classical guitar and you haven't learned to strum, then please know it's not just a hippie movement. It is actually a valid, beneficial technique for you to learn. And we'll talk all about why that is. So before we dive into this hot topic of strumming, I'd like to invite you to download a book of 30 great pieces. These are really fun. They're at the early intermediate-ish level, beginning to early intermediate-ish level, and they have notation and they have tab in case that's how you roll. There's also links where you can listen to each of the pieces before you play or after, just to see if you would actually like to play them. So find the link below and grab that book. So let's begin with some common misconceptions about strumming. Misconception number one, it's not serious. There are many tunes that use strumming, and a lot of them are serious. It can even be in a minor key. It's so serious. There's a lot of Spanish music. Strumming is such a quintessential technique in Spanish music. The rasgueados, the rasgueado is actually just the Spanish word for strum. And so Spanish music loves strumming. And we wouldn't say that that's not serious music or that's not classical guitar music, because clearly it is. Misconception number two is that strumming is just for dabblers and hippies, and that people who are really studying the guitar and studying classical guitar, it's not for them, because that's just for those guys playing Tom Petty tunes. Actually, that is not the case. It is just, as we said, it is a universal technique on the guitar. And there are some real benefits to it as well, which are coming right up. And misconception number three is that classical guitar music doesn't use strumming, that we only use our fingers one at a time, and that just simply isn't true. There's so much music that also has classical guitar music as we think about it, but it's a mix of strumming and using the fingers and the patterns and the scales and everything else. So it is true that classical guitar music doesn't always just strum, but it does strum. All right, so let's dive into the benefits of learning to strum. Benefit number one is that it lets us work on our internal rhythm using large muscle movements. So if we're moving like this, we're actually using our body in a different way than if we're locked down and we're just moving our fingers like this in our practice. We can feel rhythm in a different way. We can study rhythm and develop our internal pulse in a completely different way. And large muscle movements are great for that. Benefit number two is that it helps us understand how rhythm is organized. So this is the big beats and the small beats, the upbeats and the downbeats. If you're strumming a tune, there is a very clear beginning, middle, and end to a pattern, into a strumming pattern. And that can help us feel the pulse in full measures, in larger groups, also the strong beats, the weak beats. And so this directly can inform our pieces that do not use strumming. Benefit number three is that it can help us have a better feel and a better groove to our non-strumming music. It's a movement thing, and so it's much more likely that the music will sound stiff and locked down, a little bit rigid, if we're not able to actually just loosely strum and just strum a tune, strum some chords. And so getting that ability to just strum loosely helps us then bring that feel into our non-strumming pieces. Benefit number four is that it allows us to play with other people so much more readily and so much more easily. We don't have to prepare the music, before we play it, if we can just strum our chords, just the basic cowboy chords, then we can play holiday pieces with people. We can work with a flute player or a violin player or a singer, and we can just do simple strums while they're playing the melodies. And so it just, knowing our chords, knowing how to strum, these are fundamental guitar skills. And when we have them, we can just do so much more. We can enjoy music in so many more ways. And benefit number 5, the last that we'll cover here, is that strumming does happen in our guitar pieces. And when it does, we're more able to play it with a nice groove. If someone does write the chords and the strumming into the piece, like the Isaias Savio piece that I was just playing earlier, chances are they're not doing it stiffly and in this congested way. Chances are they had a particular feel in mind. And so if we're able to strum to begin with, then we're more likely to be able to interpret that music so much better than if we're strumming that for the first time and it's actually an uncomfortable act, this strumming. So many benefits to strumming. I'm sure that there are many more that we're not covering here. So if you haven't figured this out yet, I'm very bullish on knowing how to strum. It doesn't mean you have to do it every day. It doesn't have to mean you have to do it in every practice, or you have to play the Tom Petty tunes or the folk songs and the kumbaya around the campfire. But it's really nice to be able to, if you want to. If the kids come over, the grandkids come over, whatever it is, you're going to a social, you can pick up the guitar and you can just play a Beatles tune or something. It's great. It's great fun. It doesn't take a ton of time to learn it, but it will help everything that you do on the classical guitar as well. It's just part of playing this game that is the guitar. So in addition to your strumming, look down below for the link to get 30 great pieces for your practice. They're really fun. I'm sure you'll enjoy playing them and listening to them and having them in your house. So look down the link below for that. Have a lovely day, have a lovely practice, and get on some strumming. Take care. Bye-bye.